Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you are here. If you're new, my name is Barbara and we live in Tennessee in Zone 7B, and today is official. It is official. We are planting something today with these hands. You can already see I already got dirt up on my fingernails and everything else. So spring acts like it wants to be here this week and it wants to stay. So if she's gonna stay, then we're gonna plant. So I'm in my hot tunnel and we are getting things ready to plant. My husband is actually in here and he is laying the drip down in all of the open spaces as well as in the raised beds. This is the first space that we're going to be planting. And so if you're new here, we have 3 main garden spaces that we plant in. The first one being our hot tunnel that I'm sitting in right now. As you can see behind me, I have 3 raised beds on this side, and I have another 3 on the other side for a total of 6 raised beds. And then back there in the back that looks fairly empty, where we're going to be planting, are 5 rows that are about 45 feet each long, and we'll be planting in those. So in this space in the hot tunnel, we plant all year round, 24/7, 365 days of the year. So the only things that we have left in here that are carryover from fall, winter is we have some kale that we're going to be pulling up, and then we have a few bok choy, and then I have some carrots, like a spring harvest of carrots that's not ready yet. Everything else that you see is planted. Like in this bed behind me is more of the springish crops that'll usually be in here till like June or so, which is we have some celery, we have some spinach, we have chives, sage, lavender, things like that. Now some of those of course will be here past June. And then we have some lettuce in another bed behind me. But for the most part, for all of the part, there's no summer veggies that have been planted yet in this space. So that's what we're going to be working on today. And to say I'm excited is an understatement. Now, officially on paper, it says our estimated last frost date is in like 2 or 3 days. But when I look at the 10-day forecast, it's looking mighty good. And I'm glad about it. Last week, this time, we had 2 nights where it's in the 30 degrees. The weather has been very bipolarish, if I can say that. Like 1 minute it's storming, the next minute it is 80 degrees, the next minute is 30 degrees. That has been our plight for the last 2 weeks. So it's been very hard to gain momentum in the garden. But today, something's getting planted. Something is getting planted and it's going down today. And we're going to kick off the summer gardening season. But first, duty calls, and I am actually over here at the table and I am up potting some zinnias so that I can add them to our site for our plant sale. We are selling plant starts locally, and so basically I just sell my excess. I started over almost 1,100 plants, and I probably need 700 of those plants. So I have 200 or 300 plants that I am selling for plant starts. This is our second year selling plant starts, and last year it was really like, hey, I have extra plants, and so it was more than just 1 or 2. So that's why I decided to sell just to my local community. We don't ship the plants. It is for our local community where we live, as well as we have like a 45-mile radius that we will meet up and drop plants off to. So already this year I've already hit what I did last year in selling plant starts. So that is amazing. We've had some really big orders, which last year I had like onesie twosies. This year we've had some really big orders. So I'm very grateful for that. And it just further deepens my desire to continue to sell plant starts. I really want a seed starting tunnel that is on my mental, emotional, visual vision board. The Lord knows that is what I want if it is his will. But I'm up potting in some zinnias. So they've been in these 6 cell trays like this from Epic Gardening, and I want to up pot them so that and I'm going to put them on our website for sale, so that way they have space to grow, and then I can sell them as 6 packs. They only are going to grow so much being in these little bitty pots, but as soon as I transfer it to a bigger space, within 2 to 3 days, they start to really bloom out and get bigger. And so I like for them to be, a decent size if I'm going to sell them to somebody else. So that's what I'm doing, and just going through this tray, and then I'm going to actually start planting. I'm just giving my husband a chance to kind of get the drip worked out and not be in his way. So we're going to do this until it's time for us to be in the way. Okay, y'all, my husband has all the drip down. It is percolating and working great. So we've removed the kale from this bed and actually giving the kale away. So it's not going to waste. We're actually gifting it to someone. And I've added amendments to this bed because remember, this bed has not been done. It has not been amended since August of last year when we did our fall crops. So I have put in azomite, I have put in feather meal and alfalfa meal, and then we're going to cover the bed with a nice layer of compost. And then this bed over here is the last one. Only thing that's left in this bed is the bok choy. We're also going to be gifting this as well because I actually have bok choy in my refrigerator. This is the last of it, so goodbye bok choy. It has been great having it for the fall and the winter. I sold a ton of it. I think I sold more of it than we actually ate it, but that's okay because we had plenty. No complaints there. But we're going to actually gift this. We have somebody else helping us on the farm today, so we're going to gift that to him. And then I've added the same amendments in this bed. I feel like I did this bed, but it doesn't look like it. So we're going to add compost to this bed, and then all the raised beds will be done. Okay, so we have all of the compost in the raised bed. So every raised bed is amended. So we're going to go ahead and start planting. Here's the fun part. It's more fun when it's done than actually doing it, but it's necessary. So the first thing we're going to plant are our peppers in the high tunnel. I was going to start with tomatoes, but the peppers I already have down here. And so instead of trying to go up to the house and find the tomatoes that I need for down here, I'm just going to go with the peppers. And then also I'll be not interplanting. I'm going to be putting in some marigolds all throughout the rows in various spaces. Y'all, I'm so proud of my marigolds. Look at this. I grew these from seed. This tag, that's not from Home Depot. That's my tag with my writing. Marigolds. Bam. Do you see that? That is so pretty. That's one of the things I love about growing from seed is because you get a chance to choose the varieties. Y'all know when y'all go to Home Depot, they got them tired old yellow marigolds. That straight canary yellow, that's all they have. But do you see that this is like red and gold? It's like a bicolor. And then I have another kind that is more red on the outside and then yellow on the inside. But y'all, I'm so proud of my marigolds. So we're going to go ahead. I got a pack of 6 and I grew like 150 marigolds because I'm selling a lot of them, but I use a lot of them in my garden. So of course I only sell what I'm not going to use. We don't sell and then we don't have. We're going to have first. So I'm going to put these marigolds in this row. I'll probably put 3. Usually I'll do marigolds and basil and do at least 3 or 4 in each of these rows that are 45 feet long. So I'm going to go ahead and place the marigolds where I want them to be, and then we're going to fill in with peppers. So let me show you the peppers that we're going to do. Okay, y'all. So here are the peppers we're going to do. So you can see they're in the 6-pack. So I never up potted them because I kept saying, okay, I'm going to get them in the tunnel, and so they're going in the tunnel because they're not going to be up potted. So they still look good, but I don't know if you can tell that the camera is doing it justice, but they're green, but they're not as dark green. They're starting to not yellow, but get light green. So they pretty much have run their course in their spaces, and they need to be up potted or put in the ground. So we're going to give them their dream today and get them in the ground. So I have 3 different kinds of peppers here that I'm doing in the tunnel. These are greenhouse, specifically bred for the greenhouse peppers. There's a red, a yellow, and an orange. The yellow is Bracanto, the red is Sprinter, and then the orange is Milena. And these are all from Johnny C. So they're able to withstand high heat and high humidity. Also, Territorial Seed sells them as well. But this is a great pepper. The production on this pepper is phenomenal. Now they're more expensive, but the production that you get is phenomenal, like absolutely phenomenal. And there's no disease, and they're big and blocky and just perfect. So great pepper if you want to add that to your list. So we're going to go ahead and start getting these in the ground. Okay, guys, we have 2 rows completely done of our peppers. We've watered it in. We have the drip set up, but we got to put it on a timer, and we need some batteries for our timer. But all done for the first 2 rows. So a good start. We'll be back tomorrow to add more. Hey y'all, it's another day and I'm back still with the mission of trying to plant the high tunnel as much as possible. So what you just missed before I turned on the camera, we were getting set up and we're going to do our tomatoes next in the space on the right. And I dug the first hole. My son was down here. I was showing him how deep I wanted the tomatoes. And before I knew it, there was a mound, colony, whatever you want to call it, of fire ants that came out of everywhere. And I got bit just that fast. So, needless to say, I put some diatomaceous earth on it. A couple of them got in the pot that I was taking the plant out of to show him how deep I wanted to plant. So I'm just going to leave that for now. But that just kind of messed my whole orientation up of how, of what I wanted to do next, because I'm very structured and very, analytical. But nevertheless, we are going to start with this bed here. So in this bed in the back, I have a rosemary. In one corner, I have a nasturtium. And in the other corner, I have a Dusty Miller. This bed is going to be our spicy peppers. So we're going to get some planted in here with whatever I have down here. Okay, so I put 3 serranos right there, 2 eggplants, and in between the eggplant I have nasturtium. These things desperately need to be in the ground. You can see that it got sun scald there, but it should be okay once it's in the ground. But y'all, I changed my mind. I should not be defeated. Let me show you what we're about to do. So y'all, I refuse to be defeated. So what I decided to do was to just try the opposite end of the row to see if I can plant tomatoes there and then just work myself up. I thought to myself, well, the ants are probably not in every hole. And I was right. So I took my seat, I took my amendments, I took my tomato plants, and I just started to plant my tomatoes at the opposite end of the row. So the brown bucket that you see there, I have a big wheelbarrow behind me that is full of amendments, but for ease of use, I just get me a bucket, dump the amendments in there, and that way I can just kind of take the bucket around with me. But the amendments that I'm using are feather meal, just because my soil is very low in nitrogen. I'm also using worm castings and feather meal, worm castings, azomite, which are trace minerals, and then I have compost. So all of that is mixed together. So I am digging the hole and putting the amendments in there and placing the tomato plant. So when it comes to tomatoes, you want to plant your tomatoes really, really deep. So as you can see here, I'm kind of removing the lower leaves, and then I'm digging as far as I can and putting the tomato on down in there up into the first set of leaves as much as possible. Tomatoes will grow roots all along the stem, and so it'll have a really, really good root structure and just help it to be strong and sturdy when you plant your tomatoes really, really deep. So the kind of tomatoes that I'm actually planting right now, these are Rebelski, which is a traditional red slicing tomato from Johnny's. The thing that's unique about the Rebelski is that it is a greenhouse variety tomato, which means that it performs really well in high heat and high humidity. This is my 3rd year doing the Rebelski. It will always be in my garden. The tomatoes are uniform. And they are without disease, and they produce extremely well. So if you have a greenhouse or a high tunnel, I would highly recommend that you check out the Rebelski tomato. It is going to be more expensive than a regular tomato because it's specifically bred for those conditions of a high heat and high humidity, but the production on it is by far just 100% outstanding. So we're just going to keep doing this and get our tomatoes in the ground as much as we can. Okay, y'all, it's hot out here. I've had to pull my hair back. But the ant problem is a little bit bigger than just that one hole. So my husband came out here to take a look and to kind of help me. And what we discovered is they've been here. It looks like they've been here for a minute, but I guess, ants work really quickly. And I don't think they've been here that long because I just had food in there. Where we have the ants is where the Brussels sprouts were, and I just harvested those maybe 4 to 5 weeks ago, and there was no ants right there. So anyway, they have built a hole kingdom, but their kingdom about to come down. Let me show you what we're dealing with. Okay, y'all. When my husband started poking around into the hole that was right beside the one I did, he noticed, hey, these ants are everywhere. So he decided to pull the paper all the way back to a certain point. And as you can see, y'all, these ants, that's the hole that I originally started with and put some diatomaceous earth. But as he continues to pull it back, I don't even know if the pictures or this video does it justice. They are everywhere. So he started off trying to shovel the ants up and then relocate them. We have tried that method before and it works, where you relocate them to either another ant pile and then they'll just kind of kill themselves off because they don't like being mixed with another ant hill. But he started to kind of dig up and he was throwing some out in the grass. But as he continued to dig and dig and dig, he was like, oh, it's too many of them. It's not going to work that way. So we went to plan B, which is this. I went to the house and I got two things. I got our kettle because we're going to try the boiling water method. And then I made up a solution to put on the ants as well. So because we have power in the tunnel, we were able to bring our kettle down to the thing. And you see, I got the water boiling hot. We did this several iterations because this can only hold like a quart of water. We poured the hot boiling water on the ants. And then I made up a solution that has 98% water. And then I added in the water peppermint oil, lemon juice, cinnamon. I would say that we probably did this iteration at least 7 times. Hey, everybody. Okay, it has now been 2 days later. This is like the video of the week. So it's been 2 days later. Actually, the last video that I showed you where we had all the ants, we were actually on our way out of town when we discovered the ants. So we kind of delayed our plans just by a couple of hours to try to attack the ants before we left. So we came back today, and of course, the first thing that was on our agenda was to come in the tunnel and see how the ants fared and if we had a bigger problem or if it had gotten better. So let me show you what happened. Okay, y'all. The ants appear to be gone. Gone. Yes! It gives me great pleasure. Great pleasure. Let's talk about it. Okay, my husband dug and dug and dug, and y'all, the ants appear to be gone. Thank you, Jesus. I'm so glad. We saw a couple here and there, but y'all saw how it was in the video. They were covered. And so we were gone for 2 days, came back, and what we did, along with prayer, it worked. It worked. I was looking at videos. Well, I shouldn't say videos. I looked at one video over the weekend. Oh, I just noticed. Okay, I had looked at one video over the weekend where this lady had tried different methods, and there was one method that she said worked better than all the rest, and it was using some type of orange oil, D-limonene or something like that. So I ordered the product this morning. It's not going to be here for another couple of days because I was like, just in case, we still got a huge problem. Now, I was asking my husband, you know, like he dug and dug and dug. We didn't see any ants. I said, could it be below even where we're digging? And he said they don't usually go that deep, he thinks. Because y'all know, as soon as we dug it up 2 days ago, they were just everywhere. So I think it is, if they're not gone, they're definitely better. But I think they're gone, y'all, because he dug this up probably a couple of hours ago now, and I'm just now coming back down here, and I still do not see any. So I'm going to let this sit probably for another 24 to 48 hours. I'm going to actually come out here tomorrow. I'm going to put more cinnamon out to deter. It says that the cinnamon disrupts their sense of smell, because I think they go by pheromone or smell to dig their trails. And it said that the cinnamon, peppermint oil, things like that will deter the smell and cause them to kind of lose sight of where the trail was and all that good stuff. So I'm going to actually come spray some more cinnamon, not spray, but like sprinkle some cinnamon around this area tomorrow just to be on the safe side. And again, for the majority of it, now there's some, again, that's actually in the holes where we would plant, but a lot of it is in the aisleway where we actually, where I actually poured the hot water was in the aisleway. And it's okay even if I did pour it in the holes, because as you can see, there's nothing planted there, and there's nothing planted there for at least, I would say, a good 8 feet away from it. So, and then all the other plants that that I planted in the row, they are doing just fine. Now, what we didn't remember is that when my husband pulled the paper back to get at the ants, he disconnected the drip in that line. So when we came back, the tomatoes in that row were looking a little sad. They were looking like, but I've already given them some water and they've already perked back up. So they should be good. So I'll just have to remember to water them every day until he reconnects the drip back. So I'm so thankful that for right now, praise the Lord, it seems like it is contained and we are in good shape. So my husband will have to reconnect, lay the paper back down, and then reconnect the drip. I'm going to let it sit for another 24, 48 hours just because I want to be sure before I go sticking my hands in there again. In case they're like, we on break, we're going to be back tonight. I just want to be sure. I want to be sure. So that is what kind of, man, that kind of derailed my whole planting game. But as of now, the peppers have been in here, I guess, about 5 days. They're looking okay. They still need to green up some. I've already fertilized once, and so I will fertilize again this week and get the rest of this planted. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here because at this point I've been recording this video for about 5 or 6 days now. So we're gonna go ahead and end it here. I did not get as far as I wanted to on this video because of the setback that we had. But if I had to put a number on it, I'm at least 50%, probably, let's see, I have one more row on this side and then I have another row on that side. Okay, that's not too bad. So 2 rows and 2.5-ish beds to fill up before I can say that this tunnel is fully planted. So I would say that's probably 75% planted. So that's not too bad. It was feeling a lot worse. But when I think about it, I do have, out of the 5 rows, I have 2.5 rows in. So I have 2.5 rows left. And then I have 2 beds that are halfway done. So that's like a bed. So yeah, roughly I would say 75% of the way done. But thank you guys so much for joining me today. Look, sometimes things happen in the garden that you don't anticipate, that you don't expect. And you have to roll with the punches. You have to still be confident that all's going to work out. And then you also have to have some type of backup plan as well. So I have extra plants. So there's a couple of tomato plants. I think there's only 2, a tomato plant and a pepper plant that didn't look good. Like maybe it was transplant shock, or maybe because the water wasn't on, it just didn't survive. And that's fine. I got plenty of plants. So losing 2 out of the whole ordeal is not bad at all. I'm prayerful that the ant situation is resolved. And so hopefully I'll be able to plant here by the end of the week, and then maybe I'll bring you guys back on a part 2 of this video when I finish actually planting out the tunnel, because once we get the tunnel planted, then you know what's happening next. We're moving to the outside. We're moving to the outside. So remember, y'all, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.